What's up guys, Matt back again with another unboxing video, and today we're going to be reviewing the DXF Beelzebub. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This figure is based on Beelzebub from Sandland. The figure is loosely based on Beelzebub from Sandland Chapter 1 right before he meets Sheriff Rao. This figure sells for an average price of $25 to $35 US on the market. If you're interested in buying this figure for cheap, then use my discount code Peaches24 at bashmancollectibles.com to get 10% off of your first order and 5% off of every future order afterwards. This figure was released on September 27th, 2023. Beelzebub stands at 8 inches tall, weighs 5.6 ounces in box, weighs 2.2 ounces on his own, and he comes whole with his tail and support. Alright, it has been a bit since I've done a DXF review, but this time we are going to be doing a Sandland DXF review, and this is a very special thank you to Brent Shell, who's been a longtime subscriber of the channel. He sent me this figure along with the Masterly's Sandland figures. If you haven't seen that, I put that up yesterday. The link is right here if you want to check it out. But today we're going to talk about the cheaper variant of what this figure would be, and I think that's a pretty good place to start at when talking about this figure. So without further ado, let's dive right into this thing. Yeah, Sandland. A lot of the same reasons that I gave the character choice rating in my last video are going to apply here. This is the last work that Akira Toriyama worked on, besides Dragon Ball Daima before he passed away. It is an incredible manga, very cute, very cool. I think it's only like 14 chapters long or so, something like that. It's a really great manga. It's one of Toriyama's best work in my opinion, and the anime adaptation, the video game, all looks very great, so I highly recommend you check it out. And this is the main character of Sandland. So I think as a character choice, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 5. I absolutely love him. The character is very endearing, very charming. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil too much because I feel like Sandland is fairly new for a lot of people. So if you haven't seen Sandland, just go check it out. Super cool, very fun. His likeness, so I will talk about this a little bit actually. His likeness is not quite what I expected. It's not bad by any means, but if you compare it to something like the Masterly's really feels like it captures the essence and the feel of the character and the art style and the animation and all that great stuff, whereas this one certainly does capture that a little bit, but there's some aspects about it that I'm not quite fond of. I think his nose looks, maybe it's like too humanoid or maybe it's too long. His face seems maybe a little bit too, I don't know if it's too slim. But the amount of detail is just not really there compared to something like the Masterly's. It's good, it's solid. It's just not really like outstanding in any way. I think it's very good. He still looks like the character, but his face is a little off. It's kind of awkward to look at. I think in pictures it's serviceable, but when you see it in person, it's like, oh wait, it's not as good as I thought it'd be. So I think it's fine, but certainly not as good as something like an Ichiban Kuji. So I'm going to give his likeness a 3 out of 5 with all of that in mind. Now moving on to the sculpt quality itself, it's actually pretty good. I think it's very cool how they put this figure together. The support for his feet is also pretty unique. It's almost exactly like the Ichiban Kuji. It's so funny. But this one is the cheaper, solid color support that they used. His tail and everything, the way you put them together is exactly the same as the Ichiban Kuji as well. The cape is flowing in the wind. It's just very, very similar to the Ichiban Kuji, but it's just not quite the same level. So really, the sculpt is really great. It has a lot of the same qualities as the Kuji. It's just that support that's kind of ugly instead of the clear support that you get with the Kuji. So I'm going to give the sculpt quality a 4 out of 5. I think it's solid. He stands really well. I like what they did with the figure and the details on his hair. You can see how they actually put together his goggles and everything very similarly to the Ichiban Kuji. So yeah, it's almost exactly the same, just smaller and you know, not as high quality. The paint and shading, kind of the same deal. The paint is almost exactly the same as the Ichiban Kuji. Looks very, very well done. The only part of the figure that's missing is the shading. There's no shading on this figure from what I could see. There might be a little bit on the cape. I'm not quite sure if that's the actual paint style. I don't think it's the actual paint of the figure. I think that's just natural lighting from my camera. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's not really, it doesn't really have the same level of detail and care as the Ichiban Kuji. Like, even the goggles on the Ichiban Kuji, they're more vibrant. There's different colors and paint styles applied all throughout the goggles instead of just like a gloss, you know, just cheap plastic on the figure. And I'm sorry about that. My cat just toppled stuff over in the background. So anyways, yeah, you know, he's serviceable. There's nothing really bad about Beelzebub or the figure itself. It's just missing the shading. So I'm going to give paint and shading a 4 out of 5 with that in mind. Size and scale, this is probably the biggest criticism of the figure. You know, you're paying just almost the same amount as the Ichiban Kuji. You know, prize A goes for about like, I don't know, 50 bucks. You can maybe even get it for cheaper if you're lucky. And this one goes for $30, $35. And even though he is 8 inches tall, which is a good size, his volume, the actual like girth and everything of the figure, I don't know a better word to describe it. Like, he's not as big from a volume perspective, say, as opposed to an Ichiban Kuji. I think the Beelzebub from Ichiban Kuji is about 10 inches tall or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe shorter. Maybe he's like 8.5 or something. But not quite the same level of quality as that figure. Doesn't mean it's bad, but yeah, it's just not quite as good, and you're paying almost the same amount. He's just very small. You really should expect to get something a little bigger when you're putting money for this stuff. I feel like I could lose this thing in the couch cushions. So size and scale is going to be a 3 out of 5. Don't hate it. It's just pretty average for the size itself. But yeah, I think it's a cute figure. I don't think there's anything that's glaringly wrong about it. Maybe his face is a little bit off and not really up to the standard that I'd like to see in my anime figures. But I think if you can find him for super cheap, like 10 bucks, he'd be worth picking up, but only if you can really find him for that price. So today, I'm going to walk away and give him a 3 out of 5. Thank you all again for watching today's video. But before we move on to the upcoming giveaways this month, I'd like to mention my new merch that's launched. We've got shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. If you want to support me a bit further and rock some of the merch on the channel, please check out the shop tab on my channel. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.